extremely concerned of having no pass rush, the defensive line getting gashed, and the offensive line having no ability to get a push in the run game. So I'll bundle these together because it's how extreme do you get with the negative reaction after week one? And I think there can be a reasonable happy medium where it's very valid to have real concerns about Robert Saleh until he starts consistently winning games and winning meaningful games, because it was not a well-coached game by any stretch of the imagination. And again, losing a coaching battle to Shanahan, not the most shameful thing in the world. You know, he's one of the best coaches in the NFL, one of the best coaches of the past 5 or 6 years. They still have the silly penalties. It's the lack of creativity. It's Jet fans are tired of seeing the 1,000-yard stare in the sideline, fair or unfair. And I don't have any problem with being like, I don't think the Jets could win with Saleh until they win with him. Now, I think they have enough talent this year, and he'll get it right on defense where they can win double-digit games. But if you're a Jet fan and you're like, I am not sold on this guy, and I think he can hold us back, I don't think you're being like a doomsday person. I think it's fair because he's like, you know, he's 1833, 1834 at this point. Like it's a real problem. And then the lines, it's not as bad as it looked, right? The Niners dominate the trenches in a way that few teams in recent years have. This is a new offensive line. You got AVT working himself, getting back to healthy. Defensive line's got some stuff to figure out with or without Reddick. So what I would say is the pass rush will get better, because they're going to play worse teams, have a lead more consistently, and not be getting gashed like that because they won't be dealing with a Shanahan run game. So I'm not completely freaking out about the pass rush yet or the offensive line, because the game script was so weird. I think it was the lowest time of possession Rodgers had in any game of his career. So it was a bizarre game script. So I'm not fully freaking out about the Jets in the trenches. Are they better than the Niners? Absolutely not. Are they, one of the 5 best in the league? Not until we see proven otherwise, but can they be better than the Titans, Patriots, Broncos, and Vikings to start while AVT gets healthier, while some of these younger players get more reps, Kinlaw gets more comfortable here? Yeah, I think so overall. So you're not going to jump off the ledge with these situations, but very fair to leave the game being like, man, these are real problems, and how are they going to get fixed by the time we play a Buffalo or the time we play a Texans team or something like that?
Right. That's what it comes down to is, well, how are you really going to run your front? I think number one. And the reality is Jermaine Johnson, Quinnen Williams, and Javon Kinlaw should be a sturdy front. Like those three, I guess where it gets tricky is they've had the luxury over a couple of years of JFM could play up and down the line of scrimmage, and he's pretty tough against the run, right? Last year, and this is a button they can press, Al Woods came in on clear running situations and just ate up the middle, that it took a little bit off. And Jermaine Johnson's not going to be going up against Trent Williams every week. Quinnen Williams shouldn't, in theory, have to deal with the kind of double teams, although he probably will have to deal with a lot of double teams, but then other guys will capitalize on, like last night. There is a world where they're better than what they showed. I think the issue is this is a different group than last year. And when Al Woods got hurt last year, things did get a lot worse. And then for some reason, John Franklin Myers isn't here anymore. These aren't things that Hassan Reddick is going to be here to correct. Hassan Reddick is here to sack the quarterback. So, and I think he's a better run defender than, like Will McDonald being out there and some of maybe even Clemens. So I think
definitely better than Clemens.
The Jets getting blown off the ball is a problem, but there are certain things that you got to, I don't know what kind of shape Al Woods is in coming off a torn Achilles at his age, but if he wants to play, I mean, what do you have to lose? I know everyone's looking at Lecky Fotu. We'll see what he could do.
That's going to be the internal answer. Oh, as soon as we get Lecky back, like things are going to be fine. Like
figure it out now. Yeah. I mean,
you got to figure it out now.
I'm not surrendering a game against the Broncos, Patriots, or Titans. Are you kidding me? So, right. Naturally, things will get better, but that's not good enough, in my opinion. And that's why they had Kinlaw gain, 30 pounds. And Kinlaw was fine last night. The linebackers need to be better. The DBs got to tackle. If the DBs don't tackle this year, nothing matters. That was a big issue. So, yeah, they ran into a buzzsaw. I think they got a little, punch to the gut. And now they're going to look around and they're going to have to earn the right to rush, really. And if that means that against Tennessee, Will Levis under center, who you would think the Callahan family does not want dropping back and just throwing at will, if that means that Jermaine, Quinnen, and Kinlaw are super run responsible out of the gate and not even thinking about pinning their ears back and going, and we're gonna Joe, we're gonna throw a front out there that is Jermaine Johnson, Jalen Holmes, Quinnen Williams, and Javon Kinlaw. Not in that order, but you get what I mean. A heavier front four. They're all going to play with their hand in the dirt, the front four, and we're going to absolutely be gap responsible. We're going to hold the line of scrimmage with 4 big bodies, and we're going to sell out against the run. I don't care if Calvin Ridley catches a 60-yard touchdown. Do we think he's doing it 4 times? No.
But you lose that way. You live with that.
I don't. Right. Who cares? And you know what? I'm going to give them, because nobody else will right now. I'm going to give Ulbrich a little, belief here that they come out and they do these things. And they're going to play a little bit of an uglier, less flashy brand of defensive football, maybe until Aleki Fotu is back and Hassan Reddick and you call in Al Woods or something of that ilk, right? That you find a way to get another big body in here. That we're going to go a little outside our box. We're going to play 4 down linemen that are just going to contain the hell, read and react, and it is not going to be pretty. And we're going to run blitz CJ Mosley and Quincy Williams a lot. And that's that. That's how we're going to play this thing, because we're not scared of Will Levis. We're not scared of Jacoby Brissett. We're surely not scared of Bo Nix. And that's fine. That's fine. To be fair to the Jets, and the game plan was awful against the 49ers, let's make it clear. If they said we're not scared of Brock Purdy, that's not the equation, because you have to be scared of Kyle Shanahan. When Brock Purdy gets in his ears, hey, they're doing this. They're playing a heavy front 4 and they're run blitzing. Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, Juszczyk, one of them, they're going to burn you in that situation. And it started, by the way, there are very small sample sizes, like Ashton Davis and Tony Adams got picked on in coverage, especially man coverage. So they did press those buttons eventually. Other teams are not going to be able to do that. There's a big difference. I'm not all gung-ho like the Jets are going to be 4-1 going into the Buffalo game. They should be. I'm not going to say it with my chest, like, don't worry about anything. But there is a lot of reason to believe that this will get closer to right than where it's at right now.
One of the questions we got is, should they prioritize trading for a defensive tackle versus trading for Devontae Adams? I don't know what defensive tackle is necessarily going to be out there, but I would say, why not both? Al Woods, you don't have to trade for, right? He's still out there. You're going to get Fotu back.
Who cares?
Get Fotu back in week 4 and still trade, for a receiver. Why not? We're supposed to be trying to go all in this year. I'll bundle these 2 offensive questions together. First one from Quincy M.E. Do you see a situation where the Jets change play caller midseason? If so, who do you think it would go to? And from Jay Webb, was the Lazard hype real? Sharing his PFF stats. Lazard, I think the PFF stats and the fantasy stats, it's key to remember they're slightly padded, as he caught a touchdown in deep garbage time. Did have a couple very nice plays with Rodgers in the third. I want to give him credit. And I think away from the first drive drop, which was really important, I think he could be fine as a temporary number 2 receiver until Mike Williams is right, which I'm guessing is going to be like for the Broncos game. So I think if Lazard could have like 50 catches and 650 yards this year and like 6 touchdowns, like that'd be great. Like, am I going to bet on that to happen every single week? And like, does that mean like Mike Williams does not need to have a bigger role? Like, no, they need Mike Williams badly. They need Mike Williams. They might even need more receiver. If Lazard could be the guy he was in the third quarter, that's a nice value add and puts less strain on Corley needing to make an impact immediately or Gibson needing to do something maybe he's not capable of. And I think if they switch play caller duties, it probably goes to Todd Downing. I would assume he'd be the guy to go to. Whoopee, how exciting.
Right.
And Rodgers, maybe more tempo, maybe more plays that have 2 at the line and let him call it. That's what we want to see more of. And that's when it feels like the Jets will be more dangerous, no?
Yeah. I mean, listen, this is love it or hate it. You knew exactly what you got here. Like, the strength of the Jets offense is Rodgers getting to the line of scrimmage, seeing what's in front of him and changing into the look that he wants.
Yes.
It's the difference to me. When I make predictions, I do take attrition into account. That's the difference to me, that the Jets, and Tyrod would be fine if he had to play, But they're not a team like other teams, other really good teams, that, in my opinion, if they lost Rodgers for 5 weeks, can coach to a win 2 or 3 times.
No.
They have to. You're going to hear me say this a lot. They have to out talent 2 wins, and that's a tough way to live in the NFL. And it doesn't mean I'm down on the Jets this year. I think they're talented enough to win plenty of football games. But I mean, come on, like it's funny to me, the Jets. When people that are really high on the Jets, and I mean really high, like division winner, 14 wins, whatever it is, when you group them being contenders against the Chiefs and the Ravens, and the Niners are a good example, even if they're in the NFC. I think what matters in this league, and it's why the Rams are always so competitive, it feels like, is you have Nathaniel Hackett, and those teams have Andy Reid, and even Todd Monken, and Kyle Shanahan, and Sean McVay. And look at what Kevin O'Connell can do.
Yep.
I'm not saying Sam Darnold's going to do this all year because the Giants are terrible, but Kevin O'Connell's a good coach. So that's where I kind of stand. What's, a limitation for the Jets. And the Jets do have Aaron Rodgers, who does make up a lot of ground for deficiencies on the coaching staff, but it's a consistent talking point, obviously.
Make sure to sign up for Underdog now that we are in season. Use promo code Badlands for a deposit match of up to $1,000. Every week, Connor and I are giving our higher, lower picks for the Jets game and tying in other NFL games we think makes sense. We're tracking all the best ball leagues we did with all you guys in the offseason. Not too late to get in the action with the higher, lower picks. CR, how we feeling headed into week 2?
Ready to rock and roll. We got a lot of different things we're looking at here. Hoping this Jets offense gets right, most importantly, especially Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall. Please carry us. I'm feeling a bounce back for both.
I missed mine because Rodgers' completion percentage missed by like 1/10 of a point. Thank you, Lazard, for that drop. I would have had
it's the game we play.
Anyway, sign up now. Promo code Badlands. This question leads us well into our Titans preview. What would be the 3 main adjustments you would make for this game? And you already discussed some of them, where the Jets have to get heavier in the defensive box. And that, I think everyone's going to talk about that a lot going into Sunday. You have Levis, who is erratic and will turn the football over. And if the Titans need him to win the game, the Jets should be in good shape. They have Pollard, who looks like the guy he was a couple of years ago, and he looked good. And the Titans could run the ball. So you have to load up the box, and you have to Ulbrich, and like to Ulbrich's credit, he's shown an ability to adjust before, right? Like you remember how the Jets defense was like up through that Bengals game in his second year, and him and Quinnen had the blowout. And they really changed how they played defense after. And they've been very good since then, despite the offense always hanging them out to dry. So he's shown an ability to change.
They might have to go back to blitzing.
Yeah. I mean, they, like you said, I think you have to just find a way to get the box heavier and just change the script from whatever the hell you were trying to do against the Niners. And then offensively, it's got to be more variance on the early downs. You got to get Braylon Allen involved more.
Yeah.
You gotta manufacture some yards for some other guys. I would have some early game touches for a Gibson or Corley to get them involved in the game. I would have an early screen to a Braylon Allen. How about just running a screen in general to Breece Hall? Like get your lineman out in space and manufacture some yards.
Fumbled. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, make your life a little easier where it can be. Of course, more Garrett in the slot. Take more of those first down shots. Make sure Garrett is ready on the same page and doesn't stop his route and keeps trucking down the sideline and take your shots. And the Jets last I saw, I think, are -3.5. That feels fair enough. They're on the road.
Sure.
Maybe that gets to 4. I think it's going to be a tough game, but it's early, right? We're recording this Tuesday night. Just because of how the Niners game went, a game that we both thought they would lose, does not mean I'd be like, well, the bottom's falling out and they're going to lose to this Titans team. I think it's going to be a close game going into the 4th. I would like to think from a talent perspective, the Jets could pull away then and certainly cover a 3.5 spread and, God forbid, get like a 9 to 15 point win that's comfortable. They need to be able to out-talent in this game, right? Like there's no excuse for them not to. The Titans just blew a 17-point lead to a quarterback who threw for 90 yards or so in his first start. Right. And they had a punt blocked, and Levis had the ridiculous shovel pass interception. Tennessee, not the hardest place to play in the world. Not easy with all the travel. I just hope we see some more early down variance on offense, and I hope it's not halfway through the third quarter and the only two players who have touched the football are Brees and Garrett, and no one likes Brees and Garrett more than me. You're just putting too much on them. You have to diversify a little more. No,
No, yeah, exactly. And the Tennessee edge rush doesn't really scare me. They have some talent on the interior. You know, the newcomer Tavondre Sweat, who's a massive human being. Of course, they have Jeffrey Simmons, who's really good. We'll see if Harold Landry can get back to being the guy he was, but he's, just been kind of okay. Arden Key, just kind of okay. Like, I think you could throw on this team. I think there's instances where you can run on this team. And the reality is, when you look at the game plan, you know exactly what they want to do to you if you're the Jets defense. They want to run the ball at you, and you just have to completely sell out against the run and make Will Levis try to beat you. And it was a tough go for Levis against the Bears. And I mean, it's not like Tennessee opened up against the 49ers or a team of that level. They opened up against the Bears, who had a rookie quarterback that couldn't hit the backside of a barn. So, and they still found a way to lose the game. So if you're the Jets, yeah, handle your business. You don't need to win 40-3, although they make the fan base